Hello class, and welcome to lesson 2.3 on percents and decimals. So I want you to open your book to page 109. So in page 109 here, we're gonna do this warm-up. A recent survey tells the favorite subjects of students at Martin Middle School. Math was 28%, art was 16%, science is 21%, English is 13%, social studies is 15%, and other is 7%. So it says write a fraction with a denominator of 100 to represent the percent for each subject. So excellent, you guys. When we do this, I know I forgot to record in the beginning, so we found out it's just as simple. Math was 28, art is 16 over 100, English is 13 over 100, science is 21 over 100, social studies was 15, and other was 7. We didn't even need to put any thought into this. When it's a percent, we always know it's going to be that number over 100. And then to write it as a decimal, I'm going to give you a hint for the first one we write as a decimal. The math is going to be 0.28. And I want to know why. Jack, what place value is that? The one that's furthest to the right. What place value is that?
You scared me and you made me fall out of my chair. Okay, that place value is the hundredths.
Excellent. It's the hundredths, which means if I was to write it as a fraction, it would be 28 over 100 until we simplified. So then, Marquis, what would I write for art? What would be my decimal for art?
0.16.
Yeah, 0.16. Excellent. What about for English then, Clara? Perfect, 1300ths. I like the way that she said it too. Great job. I love that. Okay, let's see. Alexandria, what about science? 0.21. Yeah, I like the different ways we're saying these. These are funny. Elias, what about social studies?
0.15.
Perfect. And then what about other, Antonio?
That's 0.7.
Now, this is the tricky one. It's not 0.7. Don't worry, it's admittedly tricky. What do we think that it is? I see a lot of hands. Nathan, what do you think it is?
It's 0.07.
Ah, it's 0.07. Jaden, why is it 0.07 and not 0.7?
Because it's 7/100ths.
Yeah. So I need the 7 to be in my hundredths place value. Exactly. It's very tricky when you look at it at first, which is why I asked the trick question. All of the other ones, we just put a decimal in front of it. So we'd think it'd be like that. But it always has to be in the hundredths place. This is 7 in the hundredths place. It's 7 in the hundredths place. Great job, you guys. Isn't this easy, right? Thumbs up so far, right? This makes a lot of sense. Super duper easy. Going from percents to decimals, awesome. So good as long as it's so awesome. Here's what I want you to write down, though, for your percents to decimals. And I'm going to show you an example of this here. So percents to decimals. To go from percents to decimals, you move the decimal 2 times to the left. We're moving it away from the percent sign because that's the direction, right? So we're moving our decimal 2 places away from the percent sign. And I'm going to give you a great way how we remember it. So here's a good way to look at this. 48%. Where is the decimal with 48%? And you're saying here it's a percent, it's not a decimal. Every single number has a decimal. Just like every single number is a fraction over 1. Where is the decimal in 48%? Where does the decimal go? Who can tell me? What do we think, Emma?
Before the 4.
Ooh, so she thinks it goes before the 4. Now, she's correct when we're looking at it as a decimal, when we're answering the question as a decimal. But where does the decimal go when we're looking at it as a percent? I know that sounds ridiculous, but we're gonna see. What do you think, Jaden?
After the 8?
Perfect. If you never see a decimal, it's at the end. For example, the number 1. It doesn't have a decimal, it just goes there, right? The number 27, it doesn't have a decimal, it just goes there. As fractions, 27 is a fraction as 27 over 1, right? There are all these kind of interchangeable things that we don't necessarily need to look at. We don't necessarily need to look at that. But yes, so this is what Emma was answering. I move it 2 places away from my percent sign. I want to get rid of that percent sign. So I'm going to go away. 1, 2. And I get my decimal to be 0 and 48 hundredths. You want to know why? And this is kind of what Lennox was saying. How many dots, how many circles do I have in the percent sign? Show me on your fingers. How many circles do I have in the percent sign? Yes, I have 1, 2. I want to get rid of that percent sign, so I'm going to move 1, 2 percent dots away from to get rid of the percent sign. I'm going to move 1, 2 away, and now that percent sign is gone. It's gone. That's how you go from percents to decimals. So where's the decimal point in 56%?
After the 6.
After the 6. Excellent. Again, what about this one? What about this one, Antonio? Where's the decimal point for 8%?
It's before the 8.
He says it's before the 8. What do we think? What do we think, Emma?
It's after.
After, because if there's no decimal, it's always at the very last part. Jaden, what about 2%?
It's after the 2.
Excellent. If we don't see a decimal point, we just put the decimal point at the very end. That's it. You don't see a decimal point, it's just at the very end. And the reason that we put these decimal points there is so we know exactly how far to move it. We know exactly how far to move it. So based on that, David, what is 56% as a decimal? Anna Jolene, do you think you can tell me what it is? What's the decimal of 56%? Not really, that's okay. What do we think, Emma?
I think it's 0.56.
Yep, 0.56. Here's all I did, you guys. I moved my decimal 1, 2 away, and that got rid of my percent sign. Excellent. Nathan, what is going to be my decimal for 8%? Yes, 0.08. That's the thing you need to know because I move it over 1, 2. So I have to put my decimal there. Uh-oh, but there's something here. I have to put a 0. There's no number there, so I put a 0. Based on that, Oslin, what is going to be the decimal for 2%? Excellent, 0.02. All I'm doing again is I'm moving my decimal point 1, 2 over. And that since there's no number there, I just put a 0. No number means 0. And that's where my new decimal point is. Awesome. What about these 3? So take your time and look at these 3. Perfect, Demar said the answer is 32 hundredths. I love how he said that too. Our decimal was here, we move it over twice. Excellent. Lior, what about for 6%?
0.06.
Yeah, 0.06, 6 hundredths. Lennox, what about 93%?
0.93.
Perfect, 0.93. All we're doing, the whole thing, easy as pie. We go poop, poop. We go poop, poop. That's it. The whole thing. How about this one? Look at how easy this one is, too. It's going to be the exact same thing, but flipped. So to go from decimals to percents, all you need to do is move the decimal 2 times to the right. So now we're moving the decimal to the percent side. We're moving it towards the percent sign. So based on that, let's look at this one. We already have the decimal place, so I have to move it. Who can tell me what 0.4 or 4 tenths, sorry, is gonna be 4 tenths. 0.4 is gonna be as a percent. Who can tell me what 4 tenths is gonna be as a percent? Emma.
4.
So she says it's gonna be 4%. Do we have anybody else? Lennox, what do you think?
I think it's gonna be 40.
He thinks it's gonna be 40%. Are we ready? Nathan, what do you think?
I forgot my hand down, but I agree with them.
You agree with Lennox? Lennox is correct. Now I know that the whole thing gets a little bit confusing with all of this, but we move it always 2 places because we go 1, 2, and that gives me my percent sign. The 1, 2. Right? Look at that. We can remember because it gives us the 1, 2 in our percent sign. So we move it to be 40%. We always move it twice over. So to make it a percent, we move it 2 times to the percent sign. To make it a decimal, we move it 2 times away from the percent sign. So here are some that I want you guys to do. So write these down and take these notes in your book.
36%.
Perfect. 0.36 as a percent is 36%. I move my decimal 1, 2, and that made it 1, 2. Excellent. Oslin, what about 0.38? 38 hundredths. What is it?
38%.
Perfect. 38%. I move my decimal 1, 2. It makes my percent sign. Anna Jolene, what about 0.2 or 2 tenths?
I was debating between 2 answers. One of them was 20% or 2%.
Which one are you leaning more towards? I'm curious.
2%.
The 2% you're leaning more towards?
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we think? I want to know, Lior, what do you think?
I think 20%.
It is 20. And remember, these ones are the hard ones. Those ones are the hard ones. I'm telling you the truth. This is the hardest. Because we always have to remember to move it 1, 2. And seeing as there's no number there, I have to put a 0. Because no number means 0. So I'm left with 20%.
I moved it twice, but then when we were turning...
Jack, what is the first one?
47%.
47%. Look at how easy that is. Excellent. I want to see David. What is the second one? 73%. Yes. Lastly, I want to see Edson. What is the third one?
50%.
Yes, 50%. Because we go over 1, 2. That's the hardest one. That's the one that everybody always says 5%. That's the complicated part. That's the real one that's complicated. I want you guys to open your books to page 112 now. I want you guys to open your books to page 112. We're going to do the guided practice. So it's still this exact same thing. We have 7 questions that we're doing. So it's 1 through 7 if you want to go. Ben, what is 27% as a decimal? Perfect, 0.27. I moved it over, boop, boop, because our decimal's at the end. Let's see, I want to hear Jalen. What about 15%? What is that?
0.15%.
Perfect, 0.15, 0.15, 15 hundredths. Excellent. I want to see then, Jaden, what is 4%?
0.4.
0.4. What do we think, Nathan?
Is it 0.40?
It's not 0.40. We're so close, Lior.
Oh, 0.04.
Yeah, I know. I saw Lior doing it. It is 0.04. As I said, these are the hardest. These are the hardest. Always, don't just do it in your head. Don't ever do these in your head. Put the decimal and do your bunny hops, as I like to call them. Put the decimal and do your bunny hops. I love calling these bunny hops. Okay. Edson, what about 0.3 or 3 tenths? What percent is that, Edson?
30%.
Perfect, because we move it over 1, 2. We get 30%. This next one, I want to know, let's see, Anna Jolene, what is the one for 0.82 or 82 hundredths?
I got
I see what you're doing. I get what you're doing. We're really close. So watch how this happens, and we're gonna do it. So watch how this happens. Marquis, what do we think it's gonna be?
It's gonna be 82%.
Perfect, 82%. So the problem that we were seeing is all you do is you move your decimal, 1, 2, and we move it towards the percent sign, 1, 2. We move it towards the percent sign. And then Lior, what about the next one? What is that one gonna be? 51%. 51%. Exactly, we just moved the decimal over, 1, 2. And we put the percent sign. Jack, what is 0.7 or 7/10 as a percent?
I'll have to go with 70%.
Ding, 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 correct. We move our decimal over, 1, 2. There's no number there, so I put the 0, 2% places, make it that percent sign. 70%. Excellent, you guys. Excellent work. So now, your homework is page 113, numbers 1 through 12 all. And number 13 is the challenge problem. If you really want to challenge yourself, number 13 is the challenge problem.